Chapter 2 of The Naked Truth about small group ministry is a fairly hard-hitting chapter because so many pastors start small group ministry to serve their pulpit. And their churches are pulpit-centered. Everything they do revolves around that weekend service. If you think about it, the only thing a pastor can truly control at his church is his pulpit. That's it. Everything else he might think he control, or other people thinks he control, but they can take on a mind of their own. But not the pulpit. The pulpit he can control. And for many pastors, they do control it, and they become very pulpit-centric. And now, they'll argue with me all day long on this, but many churches have started small groups not to support the members, but to keep the members coming back to hear what is said every week from the pulpit. Combine this with a pastor's attitude of how he looks out onto the crowd. Does he see missional communities that have come together to celebrate what God is doing in their missional communities and in their lives? Not often. Not often enough, I should say, because I'm starting to see it now finally, because the book's been out a year and people are starting to wake up to this fact, and pastors are starting to look out into their congregations and not see a bunch of people who may or may not be a part of a small group. They're starting to see missional communities gather to celebrate. And this mentality, this one shift for the pastor can be huge, because it changes everything, and it makes the pulpit support the missional communities. Now, I know most pastors think that this is already going on in their church, but if missional communities aren't the most important thing in the church and they compete with other things, or pastors haven't said, if you only have time to get to one thing this week, skip my service and get to your missional community, your holistic small group, that doesn't just do one thing, but really lives out your life and is church for you, then get to it. This is the crux of the matter of chapter 2 and what makes it so different. When you get your ducks in a row and you're motivated by equipping and releasing the people for the work of their ministry, and they understand this, not just you, but they understand that the pulpit is there for them and they're not there for the pulpit, and they're not a small cog in a large clockworks, then everything changes for them.